Derica Wilson. Derica, are there any updates on the cases of Phoenix and Stacy? Let's start there.
Well, right now, in reference to Phoenix and Stacy, there's no updates that the police is releasing. However, what we can say is that with Stacy English, we have received information that we've passed along to law enforcement as well as to the family that they are following up on.
Okay. Is there hope, do you think?
Absolutely, there's hope, and the family's going to always continue to hold out that hope until they're reunited. So there's hope out there for these two young ladies.
Okay. I mean, this is a story I would like to follow. Lauren, you hear the question I'm setting up. Let's go at it. What is going on here? Why? And by the way, I'm laughing to myself because I think, hey, we follow disgusting cases like Casey Anthony, and the cases that are sort of lovely with lovely families. It doesn't attract our attention. What is this?
It's ridiculous. But Dr. Drew, we have to admit that there is an undeniable systemic, racially biased undercurrent that is running through our media, our society at large, that suggests that Black, African American victims of color are just not as valuable, that the nation, the world won't buy into them and support stations that run stories about them. And it's a problem. And we need to be honest about it and dialogue about it so that we can change it.
That's
I can
right.
count on my one hand, Dr. Drew, how many victims of color, cases involving victims of color that I've covered over the last 10 years on air. Well, and that's a shame.
That's not only is it a shame, Lauren, I'm going to tell you what, the statistics are stunning, because statistically we should certainly be covering more of those cases. Though the population is 12% African American, 40% of all missing persons are people of color. 40%. Dawn, let me go to you. Do you think, does this bias start with law enforcement, do you believe?
Well, I don't think it starts with law enforcement. I certainly think there's a bias there, but I don't think it really starts with law enforcement. I think it starts with the community and our society as to what we really think is significant and not. And it's often been seen by all of us is that from time to time, in particular in years gone by, and even today as we speak, that people say, oh, it's just that Black kid again, and he's gone someplace and they'll find him somewhere or whatever the case may be. And that's the wrong way to look at that. And I think a lot of that, too, holds with the families, because I really think that the families have to get in there more and really let the law enforcement, the legal aspects of it, the legal arena, let them know that, look, we're people, too, and you're going to have to put those resources out there to help find my kid.
Derica, I want you to ring in on this. Now, if news agencies and media outlets respond to viewership, you know what I'm saying? And so,
right.
And of course, they create stuff that, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy to some extent. What needs to change here? What do we do about this?
Well, first of all, I want to back up and say that it does start with law enforcement as well, because when kids are reported missing, a lot of times law enforcement will automatically like to label them as runaways, so runaways are not getting the Amber Alert. And when there is a missing adult, male or female, they like to associate their disappearance related to some sort of criminal activity, which becomes a distraction that the person is actually missing. So we have to look at law enforcement and hold them accountable. We also have to look at the media.
We have somebody representing that. Don, how do you respond to that?
Well, I think that law enforcement does have a responsibility to get out and try to find these kids, these Black kids, as well as they would any other kid there. But I also think it's the families as well, too, that's got to make sure that they are part of this deal and ensure that law enforcement is carrying out what they should be doing.